Hey, and welcome back to Lupo Outdoors. How's everybody doing today? Um, hey, we're going to be talking about 308s versus the 6.5 Creedmoor. And this has been such a huge debate for such a long time. I figured I'd throw my 2 cents into it. The problem that we see mostly is that you have people who love the 6.5 Creedmoor, and then you have people who hate the 6.5 Creedmoor. And it's not like, oh, I just don't prefer that round. No, it's a damn right hate. I mean, they hate the round. And it's interesting because it kind of confuses me on why. You know, like Taylor Swift says, haters are just gonna hate, hate, hate. And there's really nothing wrong with the 6.5 Creedmoor. And that's one of the problems that we have is a lot of people want to just tell you, you don't need the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's just a neck down version of blah, blah, blah. And, you're fine with this instead of that. Um, you'll have people tell you that you'll have trouble finding the rounds. No, 6.5 Creedmoors everywhere. Now, is it as much of a supply as the 308? No, not even close. So, I mean, we have here's your 6.5 Creedmoor, and here's your 308. And when we look at them, you know, everything is basically the same until you get to the into the necking and the size of the bullet. Now, there's pros and cons to everything here. Um, One of the biggest problems people seem to have is they'll say, well, the 6.5 Creedmoor is just a base round, blah, blah, blah. Um, when I look at the 308, there's a reason that this was referred to as the deer round. That the 308 was also a military round for a long time. It's actually probably considered to be one of the most successful military rounds ever. This was designed, with the military to take people down, right? That 30 caliber bullet has some nice weight behind it, and when that strikes, it's gonna it's gonna make a difference. Um, and then a hunter's got a hold of it. And as I stated, this is probably taking down more deer than any other round out there. But when we start looking at things like the 6.5 Creedmoor, you got that nice long bullet. So the thing that people don't take in consideration is that speed kills. So as a hunting round, the speed of this bullet is definitely there. And people don't take in consideration that here's part of the debate. People are like, well, if you're going to take deer, you should use a 308 here. I know a lot of people who have taken up to an elk down with a 6.5 Creedmoor. The debate on that is that for larger game, you need to have absolutely precise shots. You need to just absolutely get it right in there. Um, you have a little bit more fudging with other rounds that have significant knockdown power. As a target shooter, there's pros and cons here. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons about the 308 first, and then we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons on the 6.5 Creedmoor. Let me say hi to people in chat. Give me a second here, because we are live. So pros and cons. Let's look at the 308 first. The availability of ammo in 308 is everywhere. You're going to have, and honestly, 6.5 Creedmoor is everywhere as well. There's a lot of ammo out there for it, but nowhere near the 308. You can find 308 in a multitude of different types of bullet weights and different grades, everything from hunting to match grade. The 308 is a fantastic round, and anyone who tells you that 308 is not a fantastic round has never shot it. And they're all like, "Oh, I shot 308." Well, if you shot 308 and you don't think it's a great round, what's wrong with you, right? So that is one thing that people have to take in consideration. Ammo, very plentiful. It's also very inexpensive in compared to other rounds. I'm really into the long range part. And when I start looking at long range shooting, one of the issues I've discovered is the rounds I want to go out and play with, can be anywhere from $6 to $12 each shot. And when I did my long range shooting with my buddy Mike, he let me shoot his 50 BMG. Now that's $9 a shot. So it was like, boom. Well, there goes like a meal at a fast food restaurant. I mean, like that. There goes your. it cost a bit, and the 6.5 Creedmoor is not as cheap as the 308 in rounds. If you were kind of match them up, it's not horribly expensive. It's actually quite reasonable. Wow. We have Vanessa Kitty with us. Hi, Vanessa Kitty. We missed you last week. She's one of our regulars here, one of our favorite people here. We absolutely love you, Vanessa Kitty. Thank you so much for joining us. Please chime in with your experiences with both 6.5 Creedmoor and 308s. So the availability of the 308 everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And you're not going to have a hard time finding the 6.5 Creedmoor. But if you're a brand new shooter and you're on a very limited budget, let's get me offline. She was busy, that's why she didn't join us last week. If you're on a really big, really tight budget and you want to start getting into shooting, you got to keep in mind that the cheapest ammo you can find is like the match grade in comparison. So the match grade level of 308 and the match grade level of the 6.5 Creedmoor here, it's just off by not a lot. Like if you go to ammoseek.com, which is where most of us go. Vanessa, oh wait, I gotta chunk this in. Ooh, a 50 BMG. When I got to shoot the 50 BMG, I freaking loved it. It was absolutely spectacular. When's your birthday, Vanessa Kitty? Post it in the chat there. So if you're just starting out and you're trying to build up everything, I'll tell you one of the reasons why both are very, very good. So I have Ruger Precision Rifle, my RPR, and I have that in the 308. Now, uh, here's the cool thing. The chamber for a 308 and the 6.5 are exactly the same. All you have to do is swap out the barrel. So for my RPR and 308, I can get used to the firearm with the cheaper rounds, and then when I'm ready, I can swap the barrel out in a 6.5 Creedmoor and start shooting those rounds. And there's a reason why I would do that, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Um, and the nice thing about it is the magazine for the 308, it's the same one you use for the 6.5 Creedmoor. Literally, all you do is swap out the barrel, and you are now shooting 6.5 Creedmoor. So the versatility of the 308 is suitable for hunting purposes. You can do deer, elk, etc., and target shooting. Um, it's it's awesome. So I know Vanessa's birthday now, but I'm not going to post it up here. Wow, yeah, you have all year to save up for your 50 BMG. That's awesome. Um, you still need to come down here to Florida and visit, and we can go out hog hunting. Just saying, Vanessa Kitty. Um, the stopping power of the 308, it's got good stopping power, and it can effectively take down medium to large game. You know, I mean, you have a bigger and heavier bullet than you do with the 6.5 Creedmoor. The 6.5 Creedmoor is up in the 40 to uh, the 140 to 147 grain are the popular upper ends for the 6.5 Creedmoor. I think personally that the 147 grain Boattail ELD match bullets are the sweet spot for the 6.5 Creedmoor. So, but when we're looking at the 308, I can get much heavier rounds, which means on impact, I have a lot more stopping power. Let's see what Vanessa's saying here. I use the 300 Win Mag on game in Alaska. 300 Win Mag is basically suited for anything in North America. If it's out here, the 300 Win Mag will take it down. That's including Kodiaks and grizzly bears. Moose. 300 Win Mag, it's a devastating hit. Very, very good, and I would agree with you on that. So let's talk about some of the cons of the 308, because there are some. What everyone says is if you're a new shooter, don't do the 308, go with the 6.5 Creedmoor because it's got recoil. And my attitude is this: if the 308 recoil is too much for you, because it's hard, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, there's recoil there. You're not going to be able to handle something like a 30-06 or a 300 Win Mag or anything upper than, anything bigger than that. You're not going to be able to do a 270. It's not a horrible recoil. Is there recoil? Yeah. But it's not ridiculous. I mean, compared to the 6.5 Creedmoor, this is a lot more recoil. A lot more recoil. But when I say a lot more, I'm talking about in comparison. You barely feel the recoil on a 6.5 Creedmoor. But if I sat there and said, well, when you're shooting a 22 long rifle, the 6.5 Creedmoor has so much more recoil. Well, of course it does. But it's still not bad. I personally, what's she's asking what the velocity of each round type. We can get into that a little bit later. The velocity is really kind of dependent on your load, and it's also dependent on the bullet, of course. I mean, Vanessa Kitty. Um, so I don't really want to focus on that too much because I can make both rounds very similar in velocity. Um, the 6.5 Creedmoor does go faster, and it's a flatter trajectory. So my personal thing is I'm a firm believer that speed kills. The faster I can push that bullet down and the flatter trajectory on impact, the cavitation that it produces just destroys the inside. It allows for a faster and more humane hunting kill. For target shooting, it allows me to have a flatter trajectory, so I have less modifications. And I'll tell you the secret 6.5 Creedmoor hack for your scope in a few. So everybody complains about the kick. Now, I don't have a problem. I'll shoot any rifle. I don't, and people are like, "Oh, it's got a hell of a kick." I don't care. I don't twitch when there's recoil, and the reason why is I spent years and years shooting thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds of 12 gauge shotgun. So I was a shotgun shooter. Skeet, trap, sporting clays. Um, at competitions or even days where I'm just going out and practice, I can shoot 400 or 500 rounds in a day. So 12 gauges have recoil. And then when you start shooting a lot of shotgun, it you ignore the recoil. My focus is on the clay. I don't even think about recoil. Let's see, Vanessa Kitty. The Marines would ask me out to the range on weekends. When they did, uh, that was quite a gun. That's awesome. Um, so for those who are watching, Vanessa Kitty, like I said, is a longtime viewer of our channel here, and our podcast. She's been with us since the very beginning, episode 1. Uh, and she's awesome. But she's also ex-military, so yeah, she is. When it comes to hunting, she's taken really big game. Hey, Vanessa, what's the largest game that you hunted? I'll put it in the chat. So uh, when we talk about ballistics performance at extreme long ranges, you're going to do a significantly more scope modifications than you will with a 6.5 Creedmoor. Um, uh, it has a slightly more pronounced bullet drop at longer ranges compared to the 6.5 Creedmoor. The ballistics performance at extremely long ranges. Now remember, uh, the 308 was a sniper round with the military for a long time, and it's very accurate. But at extreme long ranges, they might experience more wind drift and drop compared to the 6.5 Creedmoor. Um, so Vanessa says that she's hunted with moose, done more brown bear than black bear. Um, some massive brown bears in Kodiak Island. Oh my God, I'm sure those were just massive. Were all those done with a 300 Win Mag, Vanessa? Um, so let's talk a little about the pros about the 6.5 Creedmoor. We mentioned that it has much lower recoil. Um, it's a great round. It's a really, really great round. I was shooting 308s like forever, and she said, "Yeah, all of her hunting's done with a 300 Win Mag." When you want to kill it with the first shot, that 300 Win Mag is all about that. When I first shot a 6.5 Creedmoor, I did notice significantly less recoil. I recently got a can, so I have a suppressor, and I put it on my 6.5 Fierce rifle, which is my hunting rifle, and all it did was, I mean, it was like so quiet. Uh, let's see what she's saying here. 3.0, it is nice, popular on active duty folks in my time. You're not that old, Vanessa Kitty. So uh, low recoil, long range performance. It has great ballistics coefficients, the 6.5. Lot less wind drift and better performance for longer distance compared to the 308. Um, when you start getting past 1,000 yards, the bullet drop between a 308 and a 6.5 is very significant. I mean, very significant. Um, so there's a shooting school out in Texas, and they use Benelli Lupos and chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor, and they shoot 1,000 yards all day long, no problem. I don't know, honestly, if I would take out really, really big stuff here. Um, so Vanessa Kitty retired U.S. Air Force 28 years ago now. My goodness. So would you retire when you're like 12? Is that how? Yeah, she's not that old. Um, and then the other pros for the 6.5 is the accuracy. Uh, J recognized as an inherent accuracy due to design and ballistics. When you get a match grade bullet in here with a boat tail, the ELDs are really, really good. My favorite bullet to reload is an ELD match. And then my match grade rifle that I have that's in 6.5 Creedmoor. And we'll talk about that rifle on another episode in the future here. I use the aluminum tips uh, ELD match, and oh, that rifle prefers that. So half the fun of shooting is figuring out your reloads and how you're going to do it. Let's see, 4 years short of 20 September uh, 80 through 96. Wow, that's awesome. Um, very accurate round, the 6.5 Creedmoor. Fantastic for long range. It's a great round for precision shooting. And then I've stepped up to the 6.5 PRC because I wanted to shoot over a mile. And the farthest I've shot with my 6.5 PRC is 1,219 yards. Nailed it dead center my first shot, and then my second shot, the bullet was about that far apart. So I did two shots at that distance. And keep in mind, if you're not familiar with long range shooting, 1,200 yards is about 500 yards short of a mile. So that's how close I was to shooting a mile. Love the 6.5 PRC. I don't have a bullet here because it's over there, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about the debate between both of these. So some of the cons, has less availability than the 308. Oh, what scope do I have? Uh, Boy, what is on that rifle? I believe it's six. Oh, it's a Sig Sawyer scope, Vanessa Kitty. I have a Sig scope on that, and it's spectacular. By the way, I picked up today an AR-10 in 308, and for an awesome deal. and it has a 5x30 scope on that as well. And I was like, I got it for a song. Literally had to sing to the guy, and he gave it to me, so I would stop singing. I'm kidding. Um, so the availability of the 6.5 Creedmoor is not as significant as the 308, and the prices are a little higher. Um, that is kind of the turnoff. My opinion personally is that people say, well, you should go with the 6.5 Creedmoor over 308 when you're first starting out. I would prefer to learn on a 308, so I'm more accustomed to the kick. Um, so would you say here, Vanessa Kitty? I can now only use one eye since the left has degraded greatly this year. The distortion is way too high on it. Vanessa Kitty, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that personally. Um, as I said before, she's one of our absolute favorite people on the podcast. We absolutely love her. She's just, boy, man, you want to talk about a tough as nails individual? That's Vanessa. So the stopping power is one of the other cons of the 6.5 Creedmoor over the 308. 308 does heavier, larger bullets. You're talking 30 cal here, and you can get some heft behind those. Like on my 300 Win Mag, I normally shoot 200 grain bullets. In the 308, you can get up there. Oh, that's awful. Um, Poor Vanessa Kitty. You're not allowed to fall apart until we get to hang out and go pig hunting together. Um, so the stopping power is questionable. It's a smaller caliber, right? Caliber bullet here, and when you look at these, the 6.5 Creedmoor there, it's thinner, it's lighter. You're not going to get to the heft that you can with a 30 cal. So when you start talking about bigger game, unless you have that perfect shot, this is not going to do it for you. For target shooting, all day long. So that's, you have to keep in mind. Now, the speed and accuracy of this will allow it to take down a larger game, like we stated before. But you have to be spot on with your shots. Often people go, as long as I'm in the general direction. With a smaller round, you really need to be spot on. You want to make sure you take out the lung and the heart on the first shot, and drop the animal. And when you start getting into bigger game, which have far more bulk, it now you really have to focus. Our friend Mike this year, or actually, sorry, last year in December, was able to, or November, I think it was, he bagged a deer with a 6.5 Creedmoor match grade bullet. That's impressive. So the biggest cons are availability and stopping power. Let's see what Vanessa's saying here. Let's see here. Large game hunting is not the time to have them running off after you shoot. You're right. Which is why it's more ethical to use something a lot more powerful. When Vanessa Kitty is hunting with a 300 Win Mag, 300 Win Mag has kick. I've been shooting, like I said, I shoot 12 gauge, hundreds of rounds. And the first time I shot a 300 Win Mag, I was like, whoo, I felt that. It's not bad, though. It's really not bad. I have the Benelli Lupo and 300 Win Mag, and they use the same kick depression systems that they do in their shotguns. which is great because it greatly reduces the impact to your shoulder. Um, and like I said, I mean, I'll shoot up to 500, sometimes a little bit more rounds in one day. I'll go home and shoulder doesn't feel anything. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if I could do that with the 300 Win Mag. It does have some absolute kick on it. On it, so like this is a really, really good point, Vanessa Kitty. Foot pounds on impact is paramount. You want that heavy, heavy impact if you're hunting. Now, keep in mind the 300 Win Mag was used for years for long range shooting. So, the winners for many, many years, like King of the Mile there, were 300 Win Mag. The military used 300 Win Mag as a sniper round for years. Kyle Kelly, that was his favorite round, 300 Win Mag for sniping. Um, but it's a hit. So when we're talking like new shooters, a lot of people say go to the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a lot more gentle on a new shooter, but then again, I always look at it this way. Um, if you're going out to shoot, I would rather learn on something that has a little bit more kick. I mean, it's just me. The the recoil doesn't phase me at all. I don't care if it's a 50 BMG or a 22 Magnum or long rifle. It doesn't matter. I'm never thinking about the recoil. I'm thinking about my breathing, steady, making sure that I'm exactly where I need to be due to wind and distance. That I have everything scoped out. My dope is set, and then it's nothing more than focusing, taking that deep breath, and just as I exhale at the bottom of the breath, I hold it and gently squeeze that trigger. And this is my competition. So when I'm shotgun shooting, I have a full ritual, literally a full ritual. And part of that is when I have it lined up, and this is why recoil doesn't bother me, and I say pull, I always say pull and exit my breath and full and go right out in front of the target and pop it. So it you need to build up the resistance to recoil. You need to pull that out of the equation. People are like, well, I'm recoil sensitive. Then the best thing you could do is shoot things with recoil and train yourself that it's okay. I had a buddy of mine who was, oh my God, severely recoil sensitive. And being recoil sensitive, he would twitch. Like he would jerk the trigger, or he would twitch, anticipating, he would tense up. So what we ended up doing is we'd be at the range and we would load his gun up, and the round doesn't matter. I mean, he would even flinch on a 6.5 Creedmoor. So I mean, he was just right there. And what we would do is I would load up his magazines and I would randomly put in uh, uh, pre-fired brass shells, right? Empties in his bolt action. So he would fire, get the recoil, eject, fire, twitch, eject, and then he would fire and nothing would happen and he would twitch. So what we're trying to do is get his mind to know that you don't have to twitch on everything. We did a lot of dry fire exercises with him. So let's move on and start talking about things like hunting. We've been kind of talking hunting, a lot of this already. Both calibers are very suited for hunting, but the 308 might be the preferred for larger game to a slightly higher energy and more stopping power. As we said, you can get a larger bullet on a 308 than you can on the 6.5 Creedmoor. That makes a big difference. As Vanessa Kitty was saying, that the foot-pounds on impact is paramount. So would I do a grizzly with the 6.5? No. Would I do with the 308? Only if I had to. It's you want that more powerful hit. So for competition shooting, though, I would pick the 6.5 Creedmoor over the 308. It is a much flatter shooting projectile. It has far less drop than the 308 at longer distances. So for competition and target shooting, this is a fantastic round. My match grade rifle, my competition rifle, my bench rest competition rifle, is a 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's just sick as all beans. I mean, the barrel's that thick. It's very heavy. The interesting thing about it, it's a bolt action, and this was designed so when you fire and you grab the bolt and you pull it out, it doesn't eject the shell to the right. Mine ejects the shell to the left. So without taking my eyes off the target, I can bring my left hand up, pull back, and grab the shell, and then load the next round and put the shell down. What you see a lot of competition shooters do is they'll reach over and grab the shell with their left hand. I don't have to do that with my rifle. And what did you say here? So Vanessa Kitty is talking about grizzlies still breathing after you collapse their lungs and such, sitting there staring at you, hugging. Yeah, that I don't know if that would sit well with me. So with my competition rifle, it's designed to allow me to stay on target. When you start getting into pencil barrels or smaller barrels, even with bull barrels without the proper muzzle brake, you'll get muzzle rise. And what we're wanting to do in competition is seeing the impact of the bullet. So if you don't have a spotter with you, I want to limit my barrel rise as much as possible, which is why I put an Ultradyne long range muzzle brake on my Benelli Lupo. It all but eliminated my muzzle jump after firing a 200 grain 300 Win Mag. So we talked about competition shooting. The 6.5 Creedmoor is more preferred. It's just an easier round. Why am I using it? A 308 is I want to get used to the rifle, learn the rifle. The more you know about your rifle and how it reacts and how it shoots, the better it's going to be. And then when I swap out the barrel for my Creedmoor, the Creedmoor barrel is going to burn up a lot faster than the 308, but I'm going to learn my long range fundamentals on the 308, and then that will better prepare me for the 6.5 Creedmoor. One of the other things that we should talk about is, as we're talking about long ranges, the 6.5 Creedmoor consistently outperforms the 308 at longer distance due to its superior ballistics performance and offering better accuracy and less wind drift. That's kind of the key that you have to keep in mind, is that wind drift. This is a smaller bullet, and it has a lot less effect from the wind than the 308 does. Let's see, what else can we talk about? There's so much involved between these things. If you're watching this live, let me know whether or not which rounds you prefer. Do you prefer the 308 or do you prefer the 6.5? And tell me why. Why do you prefer one or the other? If you're a 6.5 Creedmoor hater, tell me why you hate that round. If you're watching this after the live performance, put it in the comment down below, please. I completely forgot to do a shout out to our sponsor this week is Has Domain. I've been using Has Domain for all my uh, needs for my emails, my hosting sites, and my domain names. Great prices. They actually have templates. So if you're brand new to creating websites and you don't know what you're doing, the templates walk you right through it. You could literally have your website up and operational in about 15 minutes. So we'd like to thank Has Domain for sponsoring us this week. So Vanessa says she has used the 308, but not a 6.5 yet. Oh, and then yes, Vanessa Kitty, look at the Ultradyne muzzle brakes. They are spectacular. If you look at my videos on my channel, I have one where I'm actually installing an Ultradyne on the Benelli Lupo, and I tell you how well it does. It is. I'm actually going to be doing an updated review coming up here in about a week or so on the Benelli Lupo and 300 Win Mag and what I've done to the rifle. A lot of people believe that you can't install a bipod on a Benelli Lupo, and I'll show you that it's not only easy, it's like a no-brainer. It's so simple to put a bipod on. But I'll also show you footage of me shooting the Benelli Lupo with 200 grain bullets with the Ultradyne muzzle brake. Um, uh, the the two brakes that I recommend for the rifles and the ones that have gotten the best feedback from people doing tests is the Ultradyne Max and the LR, and the amount of recoil resistance that they perform, the amount that they remove, is astounding, better than anything else out there. And the way they're designed is to remove or greatly reduce the muzzle rise, the barrel rise. It's great. Vanessa, you really got to go out and shoot a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's something else. So there's so much that we could talk about. My personal thought is I wasn't sure about the 6.5 Creedmoor. I was wondering, is this something I want to do? Is this something that I want to have involved? Do I want to get involved with? Everybody was telling me, "Oh, it sucks. It's it's a fad." Blah blah blah. Well, it's been around for a while now. But what I've discovered is I'm really really fond of the 6.5 Creedmoor. And then when I'm reloading, um, it uses about the same powder or maybe a little less than when I'm reloading my 308s. And there's so much it you just got to kind of keep it going at all levels there. Um, hey, Long Range Reaper just landed in Vegas. Better watch later. Thanks, bud. So, Long Range Reaper is one of my closest friends there, and he's also the one who uh, taught me how to shoot out to past 1,000 yards. Great instructor, ex-military, one of the toughest guys I know, and I have nothing but respect for him. He's a great human being. And apparently sometime this year we're probably going to go out hunting together. I know we're going to do boar hunting when he comes out here to the Orlando area. That I might make a trip out there to his neck of the woods, and we can go and do some deer hunting, and that would be awesome. Um, wow, so he's in Vegas for the weekend, and I'm sure he's going to have just the absolute best of times there. Um, but yeah, hey, thanks for joining us, my friend. So, um, Reaper, why don't you tell me, what do you prefer, a 6.5 or a 308, and why, if you're still here? I'll let them jump in there. Um, what I've noticed, if I'm going to use a really thin barrel, like pencil barrels, because pencil barrels are designed for hunting. Everything you can do to make the rifle lighter is absolutely the way to go when you want to do hunting. When you're doing long range precision rifling, and shooting, you want that thicker barrel. And competition barrels are just, like I said, the barrel's this big with a tiny little hole in the center there, right? That weight keeps the barrel and everything going on there. My RPR, I've got a set of heavy weights at the front where the bipod is. Everything to keep that barrel down. But these are not what I would take hunting. No way. As a Reaper likes to say, uh, ounces equal pounds when you're hunting. So the reason why um, the barrels on most hunting rifles are these thin pencil barrels is you're only going to be shooting maybe one, maybe two, three at the tops shots when you're hunting at a time, right? If you have to shoot three times, there's a problem. But you want to take that first shot and take them down, and maybe a follow-up shot. Uh, so the barrel doesn't heat up. But when you're in competition shootings, you want that thicker barrel. And then between matches, you run a cooling fan through to cool down that barrel as much as you can, so you don't have that hot barrel. Hot barrels have a tendency of affecting your shots greatly. So you have different ways of doing stuff, like fluting helps, um, fans. The fan system is actually very cool. So after you've done with your rounds, you open up the bolt and you stick this mechanism in there, and it just runs cool air through the barrel to rapidly bring it down to a manageable temperature, so your shots are more concise between your matches. Um, wow, that's so cool that Reaper joined us. I knew he was flying out today. So between the two, I love the 308. So I've shot that. I've shot thousands of rounds of 308s. I don't have a problem with it. I don't feel the recoil's that bad. I have 308 in my RPR, and also in a Savage Axis 2XP, which came with a scope and everything. And that's a thin pencil barrel, and it doesn't have a threading on it, so I can't put a muzzle brake on it, right? But um, the 308s are just a really outstanding round. There is nothing wrong with them whatsoever. They just work. Um, they have been around so long that people have figured out the best loads, how to figure, the best ammo, and everyone makes 308 ammo. Everybody does. If you make ammo, you make 308 pretty much. So now, if I can only use one of these, either a 308 or a 6.5 Creedmoor, um, I don't know. It's a really hard question to answer, because when it comes down to it, I love the accuracy and the long range characteristics of the 6.5 Creedmoor, but the hitting power of the 308 is absolutely right there. The reason why my first three big rifles I bought, because I was a shotgun shooter and I had pistols, but I bought two Savage Access 2s on Black Friday at Bass Pro Shops. Not this last year, but the year before. And I got one in 308 and I got one in 30-06. I wanted that spread right there. So if I ever decided to go hunting with these, I had that capabilities. But the cool thing is they're both 30 caliber, right? And so that meant I could buy one bullet type and load up when I need it. And then I bought the Benelli Lupo in 300 Win Mag, and once again 30 caliber. Now I can now spread out my bullet weights, but I'm still using the same, the same caliber, which makes it a lot easier. So I don't have to go out and start buying all these flexible calibers. It's completely changed now. I have a 270 rifle now. I have my 6.5 Creedmoors now. What else do I have? Uh, my 223s. And then I have my 300 Blackout upper that I'm building right now. And that's also going to be a video on my channel really soon. I bought the parts kit for a 300 Blackout, and the more I the more I research 300 Blackout, the more I like it. So in that video, I'm going to show you how I assemble the upper, and then I'm also going to show you in another video how to make your own 300 Blackout brass out of 223s. So you can like wander the range and pick up everybody's 223s and then convert them into 300 Blackout like that. I've got a jig, I've got a saw. It's mondo easy, and we'll be showing all that in another video. All right, we're getting close to the top of the hour here. God, this has been a fun talk. And like I said, please put in the description down below what you like, what you dislike. Give me the pros and cons that you feel that you have on like the 308. What do you like about it? What you don't like about it? Is your between the two rounds, would you prefer the 308 over the 6.5 Creedmoor? Or would you think the 6.5 Creedmoor blows the dust off of the 308? So when it comes down to it, I'm probably going to have to go with the 6.5 Creedmoor because it fits the specific needs that I'm currently at much better than the 308. I'm very much into long range shooting. I can easily hunt up to deer level ethically, and I could probably even do elk if I do an ethical shot and I'm not at a super long distance, right? Because remember, as you shoot, as the velocity comes, it starts to diminish the farther you go. And so for close-up shooting, if I was 100 yards or less, I might attempt an elk with the 6.5 Creedmoor. Might. Um, I would be more comfortable with a heavier bullet 308 if I had to. There are two rounds that I consider common rounds out here that you can that and when I say common rounds, I mean are easily accessible, easier to buy. They're all over the place. Um, One of them, for like basically everything in North America, a 300 Win Mag, you can hunt anything in North America, and the 300 Win Mag will take it down ethically. The other round, believe it or not, is the 30-06. We'll talk about that at another time. So, Vanessa, are you going to try to get a hold of a 6.5 Creedmoor and check it out? Because I'd love to hear your opinion on it. But we're getting close to the end here. Vanessa, if you could only have, or anybody who's watching, if you can jump in, just let me know if you could shoot, if you could only shoot one bullet for like the rest of your life. You get one round, endless amount of that ammo. What would you shoot? If you're watching this later, please put a comment down below. I'd love to learn that. Vanessa, what would you shoot? Yes, she is. He's still around. Because I know when it comes to Alaska shooting, she's all over the 300 Win Mag. So we're about 4 minutes ago. We're going to end our broadcast. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us. If you aren't subscribed to our channel, please like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon. And then join us next week. Same time. We are here every Friday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will not be having a live show the Friday of SHOT Show, because we will be in Las Vegas. And actually around this time I'll be on the plane flying home that Friday, but we will have a show on the 19th prior to SHOT, and we'll talk about our preparations for SHOT and so forth. Thanks again. Please check out Has Domain for your domain needs, and please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you really soon.